During the early hours of Sunday morning, July 7, 2019, Palestinian residents of the Wadi al-Fo and Ain al-Hilwa communities located in the northern Jordan Valley woke up to the sounds of earth-moving equipment that operates under the guard of the Israeli occupying force. An agricultural road in al-Marmala site was being built, adjacent to Wadi al-Fo in the north, aiming to seize the entire mountain, which covers an area of nearly 17.29 acres and overlooks the Muscat settlement from the southwest. The Israeli occupation seeks to turn this site into another illegal settlement, devouring hundreds of acres of Palestinian land and turning the residential areas in Wadi al-Fo and Ain al-Hilwa into isolated areas. This incident is only one of many amid the ongoing expansion of illegal Israeli settlements on Palestinian land. Israeli settlements undermine Palestinians' basic rights, including water, food, shelter, and adequate housing, health, education, among others. The expansion of Israeli settlements resulted in razed agricultural land and destroyed infrastructure. It creates barriers separating Palestinian communities and families from each other and creates a coercive environment that forces Palestinians to leave their land and homes. International humanitarian law prohibits the occupying power from forcibly transferring and deporting people living under occupation, and from transferring and settling their civilian population in occupied territory. Private actors have a responsibility to respect international law and ensure that they are not involved in violations. Yet, in spite of the illegality of Israeli settlements, European and international financial institutions and business enterprises operating with or providing services to Israeli settlements play a critical role in facilitating the functioning and growth of Israeli settlements and continue to invest billions in them. New research by a coalition of 25 Palestinian, European, and regional organizations has found that between January 2018 and May 2021, 672 European banks and pension funds had financial relationships worth $255 billion with 50 companies that are involved with Israeli settlements. $114 billion was provided in the form of loans and underwritings, while European investors also held $141 billion in shares and bonds of these companies. These European banks and financial institutions continue to invest billions in the Israeli settlement project despite its illegality and contribution to human rights violations, displacement of Palestinians, and oppression. They have a responsibility to ensure that they are not involved in violations of international law and are not complicit in international crimes, and address any adverse human rights impacts arising from their activities and business relationships. The top 10 creditors, loans, and underwritings identified in this research provided $77.81 billion to businesses that are actively involved with Israeli settlements. The top 10 investors also spent $67.22 billion in bonds and shares in commercial companies operating in the settlements. Some banks and companies, such as the Norwegian KLP and the Norwegian Government Pension Fund, withdrew their investment from companies involved in settlements and are taking positive steps to comply with their responsibility under international law and human rights principles to cease and retract their involvement in such grave violations and crimes. Raise with us the demand to end all investments in, financial flows to, and business activities with Israeli settlements. Call on your banks and pension funds to stop financing Israeli settlements and to prioritize human rights in their investment portfolios. Demand action from your government against companies and financial institutions involved in human rights violations. Do not accept the investment of your money in the oppression of Palestinians. Do not buy into occupation.